the judge, I thought, was kind of spot on when he said, well, what more's this bloke got to do? I should just mention one more name that may not have, we were having trouble with the line, but one name that should be mentioned in this, because he's come in for all sorts of opprobrium and criticism and people calling for his head, is Craig Tiley. He's the Chief Executive Officer of Tennis Australia. And he's done a pretty good job of trying to put all these factions together and trying to make some sense out of the Victorian state government's rules, Australian Border Force, and of course Scott Morrison and the Australian federal government. Back in November, it has emerged. Craig Tiley, on behalf of Tennis Australia, contacted on 2 occasions the federal government to say, if somebody presents a set of circumstances like this for a medical exemption against the COVID-19 vaccination, are they going to be allowed in? The Australian government declined to give a response to that. We could have avoided all of this. It's been mismanaged from the very beginning. Now, if it subsequently turns out that the Australian federal government, with elections looming in 4.5 months' time, and don't tell me there's not a political wind blowing through this story, because there is, if it turns out that they go against a judge in one of their own courts of law, and exercise kind of the nuclear option and deport Novak Djokovic, I just think that would be. I think there would be some very serious repercussions for that. In terms of state overreach, I think that is a reasonable avenue to debate. Perhaps I wouldn't go quite as far as Martin Daubney, but I think there is a certain sort of sinister aspect to that I'd feel uncomfortable with. But look, hey, they'll say it's their borders, their country and their rules. Alex Hawke is the immigration minister, a great ally of the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, and he, I guess, will make that decision. Has it been confirmed, Jeremy, that Novak Djokovic has actually been arrested?
No, we haven't got that. We've just got that from his family at the moment. So I don't know what's going on. But I guess the Australian government can't just order the arrest of people. So we'll wait to see what happens there. But the thing is, with Djokovic, he doesn't want to be vaccinated. That's very, very clear. And then he gets closer and closer to the tournament. And maybe he's thinking to himself, OK, if I want to defend my title, I need to get the vaccine. But he doesn't want to. And then we're told he then got COVID, or he tested positive. So he couldn't have the vaccine. Now, he's unvaccinated not because of that positive test, but because he doesn't want to have the vaccine. That's the issue here, isn't it?
And the issue is also the public outrage in Australia that has suffered terrible restrictions. Some would say health protections for their own good. But he made the choice not to be vaccinated. We don't have mandatory vaccination. Will this nudge people, push people in the direction of being vaccinated, or will it harden their stance when they see somebody treated in this manner? And just one further point when we're discussing Australia and the government here, if they're treating somebody like Novak Djokovic, celebrated with $1 billion fortune and well known around the world, he's turned this into an international story, or they have. Imagine how they treat people who don't have the status of a Novak Djokovic. I mean, I think it's somewhat worrying signs. And let me tell you, I've offered every arm, leg and any other limb to get the vaccination and the booster. It's got nothing to do with that. But I think there is some element of rights. And you mentioned, Jeremy, here that you can't, Australian government just can't arrest you. Well, I believe they can. Forgive me if I look at my notes. Alex Hawke has the power to remove Djokovic from Australia still, by issuing a second notice of cancellation of his visa. If that happens, he would be banned from Australia for 3 years. And I believe he does have the power, the immigration minister, to arrest somebody. And I'm not sure there does have to be a reason.
That's a good point. Yes, when it's an immigration breach, I guess we would have that in this country as well. Thank you very much, Andrew Castle. Fascinating as always.